All right, so I have here a fresh new Digital Ocean account, and I'm about to create a droplet which will have Docker installed. So let's see what's coming up next. All right, so they're gonna give us a choice of Ubuntu and the basic CPU. We're gonna keep all that, but we're gonna go to Marketplace and choose this guy right here, Docker 19 on Ubuntu 20, version 20, right? So this is what we're gonna go with. So I'm clicking on it. All right, and just to check the overview, like what's happening here. Anyway, I am sitting here in Malaysia, so I'm gonna go with the Bangalore one, which is closer to me. Authentication should be via SSH. All right, so before I click on it, let's take a look at what other options do I have. There's a backup option for extra money. Now monitoring is free, so I'm going to choose that, and then finalize and create the droplet. Choose a host name. All right, so I'm going to just come up with the host name that I can easily remember, which is actually not uppercase, docker-moose. So that's going to be my droplet's name. Now let's go back and set up that new SSH key. Add a name here. Okay, and since I'm going to be connecting to my Mac box, so I'm just going to add Mac to it. And then now they're asking for my public key, public SSH key from the source box, right? So basically which box I'm going to be connecting from. So let's go back to my Mac, and I'm now at my Mac box, which is this. It's a Mac OS 10.14 Mojave. And in here, now I could generate the public key like this here. If you don't have it, you can use this command and come to this website and follow all this detail to generate the key. And I'll include that in the descriptions, not a problem. But since I already done that, so now I'm just gonna go to under my .ssh folder and do an ls. And this is where my public key lies because I've already generated it before. So let's see, cat id pub, and this is going to be my public key. All right, so this is the portion from SSH all the way to here. This is going to be my public key. So I'm just gonna copy it from here, from this box, because this is where I'm gonna be connecting from. Copy that. Now let's go back in here, and in case you're wondering why this is a Windows box, right? And how come this is a Apple box? It's because I am actually running everything from a Windows box, but I'm running VMware. This is an image, VMware image of Mojave OS X. That's why it looks a little bit strange. So in same Windows box, I'm running Apple and Windows, right? So just clarifying that in case somebody's confused. So I'm just gonna go back to my Windows, my host box here. All right, I'm gonna start over. Once again, Moose Mac. And in here, I'm gonna go ahead and paste that SSH key. And also all the descriptions are also here, how to generate a public key on your box. So I'm just gonna add this one. Okay, so now my SSH connection has been established, or at least information has been provided, and now it's ready to create. So before I hit this, I'm just gonna go quickly look over everything. Okay, so it's a Docker 19 on Ubuntu 20. It's gonna be a basic, shared CPU, and I'm gonna choose this $7 a month one, and keep this premium AMD. It doesn't really matter. But SSD does matter because, and as you can see, they're providing SSD with everything, so why not? All right, so as far as the region goes, I'm going to choose Singapore here because I am right beside Singapore, which is Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur. So this would be the closest for me. And our authentication SSH has been set with my public key off my source computer, or like wherever I'm going to be accessing this from, which is this guy right here. And then this one free service I'm going to add, which is monitoring. I don't need IPv6 or user data. And this is going to be one droplet, and host name would be docker-moose. And this is going to be my first project. So let's create. Now this might take some time, so I'm just gonna go ahead and come back once it's done. All right, so looks like it's finished, and now we have this name, and it's 1 gigabyte, 25 gigabyte disk space, 1 gigabyte RAM, and this is the IP address that I'm gonna be using to connect, right? So I'm just gonna hit copy here and go back to my source computer, which is the Apple or Mac. Okay, so I'm going to clear the screen, and since I have the SSH setup, so now I should be able to connect like this: root at that IP address, right? So let's go in. Yes. Boom, there you go. So we're logged in under root, and let's do a quick check here, if config. All right, so these items, I'm gonna go ahead and have to install them, right? NetTools, so like, and in this package, the ping, if config, which will show you the IP address, etc. So basically, this is something since it's a fresh Ubuntu, a lot of things I'm gonna have to use this kind of commands to get back in. So let's try this to get the NetTools. All right, so we cleared the screen. Okay, now let's see, try if config again. There you go. And the reason I ran this is to check up on my original IP address, which is this. And if we go to my Digital Ocean account, and we can find the exact same IP, 28.199.248.112, and this is exactly where it is, and this is a proof that we are in the right box. And the next thing we're going to do is check up on our Docker installation, because it's supposed to be already installed. So now we're going to run a few commands to make sure Docker is in here, and afterwards we're going to go ahead and bring in one of my previous Docker images in Docker Hub and install it here. Stay tuned. All right, so before I go in and start testing the Docker stuff, I'm actually logged in here in the Docker Hub, and these are my old containers that I created before. And out of all these, this is a complete application that I wrote before, built with React and sitting on Nginx. And this is what I'm gonna first pull in and install in my Docker server, right? So now let's go back in. All right, so first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to try to use this command, docker ps, And since this is running, I mean, there's no Docker containers currently up and running, it's showing, but the fact that it is running and then giving us this, this output means Docker is installed fine in here. We can also try something like this, Docker system df, and that actually shows, if Docker images and containers and such, how much disk space they're taking, right? So that being said, now to pull in something from Docker Hub, I'm gonna have to first log in, right? So let's clear the screen and try to log in to Docker Hub. -u moves dev, and as you can see here, everything is under moose dev because that's my user ID, right? So now I'm going to hit enter. It's going to ask me for a password. Hit enter. And successfully logged in. So now the next step is to pull in this image right here. So I'm just going to go ahead and first copy this whole line, because to pull it in, besides the command, I mean, this this is a Docker push, but to pull it in, it should be Docker pull. So, and then you're gonna need the entire name here, like basically the username / the container name, right? So let's go back in and let's try Docker pull. I'm gonna paste it. Oops. Okay. Actually, my paste wasn't proper, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try again. Docker pull. I'm gonna just type it in, moosedeb /. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and paste the application, the container name, Docker pull username / the container name, and hit enter. And if I don't mention any tag, it's gonna just use the tag as latest. It's gonna bring in the latest version, and that's exactly what it's doing. And now it is done. And next we're gonna go ahead and try to bring it up in here. Now that it is downloaded, the whole thing is here. In fact, to verify, we can also once again use Docker system df. And now you see, before there was no, everything was 0, and now it's actually showing that one image got pulled in, and which is 111 megabyte. And if we do Docker ps again, it's still nothing because we did not bring it up yet. All right, so before I start the container or web server in the container, I just wanted to show that nothing is on right now. I'm trying the IP address, trying to access it, and it's showing nothing's there, right? So now let's go back in there and let's find the image, Docker images, and this is our image. And what we're gonna do, let's get it started. Docker run -d. D stands for detached, and detached means that once we run the server, it's gonna run it in the background and give us the command prompt back. This prompt will be back so that we can go on with our command lines. It's not gonna hang in there, right? And then -p, P stands for port, and this is where we actually, let Docker know that what port we're starting it on, both internally and externally. So and in this case, we're going to start, inside the container, port 80, and expose the port 80 also, so that our web server is accessible just with the IP address. And that being done, now let's just copy paste this guy, that this is our image. There you go. And hit enter. Boom, look at that. It's already started. So just to prove it, Docker PS, and now this is actually showing up, what port, and with all the details, the name, ID, etc., etc. And now we're going to verify it by pulling this website up, or application up. Let's go back, and in here, if we do a refresh, oh, there you go. This is an application React app I wrote like 3 years ago. Now I just pulled it in from the Docker Hub, this guy right here, and upload it to our Digital Ocean Droplet, and using Docker we just launched it on port 80, and then we just access it via the web browser. Well, now that we can pull up the application via the IP address, here's a little bonus for you. I have a Dynamic DNS service here, which is for free. I mean, this is where they're going to give you a DNS name by themselves, and you get to add something in front of it. In my case, I just added like this, my zone, Blockbuster, because my application actually was calling it Blockbuster, so I named it Blockbuster, and then they gave me the DNS suffix, which is .dns.army, right? And when I click on that, this is where all the records are. I mean, you can make a change if necessary, I mean, not really much to do here, but like if you want to like try to edit it, you can go here. And this is where I just updated my IP address. This guy right here updated the IP address, and the IPv6, if I just hit this and they automatically filled it up, and hit update zone, and that's how now I have this name instead of the IP address. And if I use this, should bring up the same website. So let's see, Control B that, and hit enter. There you go. So now, instead of using that IP address, I get to use a dynamic DNS and pull up my applications that are built on this Digital Ocean Droplet on a Docker server. The same app is now accessible via DNS, which is free, by the way. And that concludes this video. If you like this, please smash the like button, and please don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please smash the like button and the subscribe button. This will help me bring more free contents like this to you every week. Thanks again.